I'm Andy.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Jack.
And together we're working on restoring our sailing yacht.
Some of you might think we're crazy taking on the challenge of restoring this boat and creating a life less ordinary.
And we're sure there will be blood, sweat and tears, but it'll all be worth it when we embark on our epic adventure around the world.
Morning everybody. It's been snowing last night, so it's not actually snow in the yard, but the snow on the hill next to us, it's absolutely freezing. So we're in the boat, under the tarp. We can't work outside, so finding jobs to do indoors. The steering system on the boat is very, very stiff, as you can see. It does turn, and so if I turn this wheel, oh there you go. If I turn that wheel, you can see that it is turning, but it's very stiff.
Yeah.
And what we need to do then is strip the whole thing down, grease it all, service it all and put it back together. We're probably not going to strip the whole thing down today, but we'll start taking it apart to highlight where this stiffness is coming from. Let me show you the issue. So there's the wheel in the pilot house, and at the back of here, let me get a light. At the back of here is this little box, gearbox thing that converts the rotation to that universal joint to a shaft. And then let's come through here. Here it continues out of the back of, under the chart table here.
Turn the wheel a bit, Jack.
Jack, turn the wheel a bit. So you can see that that's turning, and it carries on down there. There we are. Then it goes into this cupboard. Oh wait. Yeah, there it is. Turn the wheel a bit, Jack.
Okay, I'll try.
There it is. Through there, turn the wheel a bit, Jack.
Okay.
Yeah, there we are. That's turning. And it goes all the way back here. That box there, where it changes and goes across to the rudder. And what we're going to do today is take all of that apart. I'm going to start by disconnecting that box so that you can we can see whether the stiffness is at the rudder end or, you know, in one of these junction boxes. So you'll see. That's the box in the back lazarette, and that is where it goes into the actual steering itself. That's the steering, that's the rudder post, which doesn't look too bad. It all looks very solid. But this here is the main gearbox for the main steering. I would like to move that forward. I wonder if there's scope to move that forward. There might be a bit. Might be able to move it forward. But my first thing, I think, is if we disconnect this here, if we disconnect that and take this post out, take the whole of this one out, what that will tell us is if the steering in the wheelhouse then moves freely, then we know that the stiffness is in that box or in the rudder post itself. But if this then turns freely, then we know that the stiffness in the system is in the connections in the wheelhouse. Spanners. Okay. Yeah, right, so now can you please try the steering in the pilot house?
Yeah.
Moment of truth. We've now disconnected the steering system in the pilot house from the steering system in the cockpit.
Yeah.
Is that now turning freely?
Yeah.
Right, so let's go outside and see. Hang on, let me get myself extricated from this awkward position. So the steering in the pilot house is now free, and the steering in the cockpit is stiff. So here you go, look at this, watch now. So the box behind here is not causing any problem. The box in there, which is really inaccessible, is not causing any problem. It seems to be running very freely. This is the junction box that was converting to the steering outside, and that's quite stiff, so I'm going to take this one home and grease it, strip it down and grease it, give it a spin. There you go. So there's the steering system, and the stiffness is all under this column at the back. So that's going to be nice. I'm going to be in there now taking all that lot apart, which we need to do anyway because it's all got to be serviced, and we've got to get obviously the whole of the belly of the boat under the aft end cleaned up, inspected, ultrasounded, where appropriate, cut out and welded where appropriate, etc, etc. Oh, bloody hell.
What?
Woodruff key's fallen out.
Oh.
Bear in mind, this has all now been taken out and put back in, different to how it was, so that black mark is no longer the top.
Right.
So there, that's stiff.
But not as.
Not as stiff.
Is the rudder turning?
No,
freely?
it won't do, it's not connected.
Oh, right, yeah, of course.
Yeah, the rudder's moving perfectly. Yeah. So that, the rudder, I'm still going to service all these bearings, of course, but the rudder is working perfectly. So that's great. It's just moving, you know, at a push. Yeah, the rudder's moving just with one finger.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good news.
So what that tells us is that all the problem in this system, yeah, is this.
It's from there.
Is the box under there,
Okay.
which is good.
Yeah.
Just means that we've got to get this lot apart. We've still got to take the rudder apart anyway because I want to change all of the glands.
Yeah.
But
it's less of an issue.
yeah. It's not seized solid. It's not going to need a whole new rudder post or anything like that. So that's good. So today we're working underneath the cockpit. So yesterday, as you saw, we were cleaning out this lazarette and this lazarette, and we're going to carry on with the same. We've come up with some new ideas for the seats, which we'll explain as we go along. But we want to get all of this area clean, get the rest of the steering system disassembled, or more of it. We might not get all of it done today, but get more of the steering system disassembled. And get from here back kind of thing under the bilges, in under where the lazarettes are, cleaned and swept and
Yeah,
tidy.
and we can start assessing what we need.
Yeah.
Cut out and replace. And
a lot of the corrosion is really obvious. There's not actually that much of it for a start. That's really badly corroded from the inside out.
there's just certain areas.
It's just certain small areas, as we've said. But what it will also mean is, because the inside of the boat is so accessible, I can get an ultrasonic metal thickness tester, but one of the cheap ones that doesn't read through paint. We'll get probably an expensive one as well, but if I get one of the cheap ones that doesn't read through paint, then I can go around inside the boat, in the bottom of the bilges, expose a little bit of bare steel the size of a coin, test the thickness, and then just paint over it quickly before we re-insulate and repaint the whole thing. And it'll just give us a reassuring sort of...
And re-insulate.
There's no insulation at all in the lazarettes above the waterline, and what we've discovered is the rest of the boat, the more we look at it, the inside of the steel's in really good shape, but the insulation that has been used originally is cork tiles.
Yeah. I mean, there's no rust behind them.
No,
so.
there's no rust behind them, and the paint is in good condition, but we'll show you all of that as we go along. Yeah, we've also had a bit of a clean up out here because it was a bit grubby. What we've discovered is that these seats at the back here, were not part of the original design. They don't match the ones at the front. If you look, these ones lip in and those don't. They are plywood seats with fiberglass over the top, and they're delaminated and they're trash. So we're going to get rid of them altogether. We're going to probably keep these two because these are just fiberglass and they're grubby, but they're sound and solid. And what we're going to do is keep these, but from here backwards I'm going to weld sheet steel from here to here and then take it in on an angle to about there, so that the seat will be that shape, maybe with a nice curve or maybe just an angle. And the same the other side, so take it to here and then take it in, and it'll mean that standing in the helmsman's position, that's the gas locker, look at that, it's not rotted through, it's just full of water.
Yeah,
but it means standing in the helmsman's position, I'll have foot room all the way across to the cockpit coaming there, and it'll mean that I can sit on the cockpit coaming here to steer, or I can sit on the back of the transom where I'll put a little bit of a seat either side, and it'll just be a nicer position. Yeah. And what we can also do then, I suddenly thought, is if the seat's cut in here like that, we can then have a fold down seat either side, which if you want to sit there, you can just fold it down and sit on it, and if you want to stand there, you can fold it up. Or we can do that cool thing that they do on the racing boats, where we actually have a little leg underneath it that adjusts the angle of the seat and where you stand on. Oh, that's taking it a bit too far, isn't it? I'm getting carried away. So there you go. We're going to be taking these off again in a second, working under there. In terms of the gas locker, I'm going to cut that out completely.
Just clarify, the bottom that you see there is not the whole.
Yeah, the bottom of there, that's not the bottom of the boat, that's just the bottom of the locker. But I'm going to cut that gas locker out, that's going. Those cockpit drains are going. I'm probably going to cut out the middle of the transom, beef it up and put a swinging door in the transom so that you can step down onto the bathing platform just through the transom, because there's a big drop then onto you're way above the waterline there. But I'll beef it up first and put some to stop it distorting when I cut the transom in half. But as you can see, the middle of the transom there is trash, so I'm just going to cut it here straight down there and there and put a swinging door, or even two, with a little seat over the top like you get on the Sirius 38DS, Sirius 38DS, just a door in the transom basically. But obviously I'll beef up the strength before I start cutting holes in the transom. Lots of ideas.
Yes. Just in case you're wondering, why are they still pumping water out of that boat? We did pump all the water out, but obviously it wasn't covered up. We've established where the water's coming in now, which we had a pretty good idea before, but it's just pouring in through the lazarette. So now obviously the cockpit's covered. We're now getting the water out of the boat and giving the bilges a good clean so we can see exactly what we need to do in here, what we need to cut out, what we need to replace, what we need to just treat. I'm going to see if I can remove this monstrosity.
I'm trying to get the steering gearbox off the bottom of this quadrant. It'd be nice to actually get the pillar off as well and get the whole lot home for working on. We'll see how we get on today. Might not have time for that, but at the very least I'd like to get the gearbox off the bottom. Although I don't actually know how it attaches. There's a row of bolts holding it to the deck, but I don't know what's below that.
So Jack is dismantling the step for us. Good job. How's your day going, darling?
Steering system is working, but not wanting to come apart to come off the boat to be serviced. There's actually a reasonably large quantity of sand. Yeah, there's actually sand in the bottom of the steering box.
Right. How's that got in there?
Goodness only knows. Another one. And because the whole box is seized together, I'm actually having to take the steering box apart in situ to take the spline drive off so that I can get the shaft out, so that I can get it apart rather than the normal proper way, which is just undo the cap and the retaining bolts and just nightmare. So this transfer box here takes the rotational force from the wheel and pushes it this way to turn the rudder post, and also comes out this side so that you can power it from the steering at the front in the pilot house.
Right.
This is where I slip and hit my knuckles. No, we're all right. We're all right. And the difficulty is going to be once I start slackening the last couple of these.
It looks very heavy.
It's very heavy, and I'm wondering if it's just going to fall and hurt me. I'm starting to get irritated by my long hair.
Oh yeah.
Because it's at that length where it's too short to tie back.
Do you want me to cut it off?
Nope.
Let me know if you find any snakes down there.
Any snakes?
I don't think there's snakes in the bilge.
I'd definitely let you know if I found a snake in the bilge.
We're not in Australia.
But there are snakes in this country.
There are snakes.
There's a question for Trev Hedges. Question for Trev Hedges. Jack's just asked, are we likely to find a snake in the bilge? Not in this country, but Trev, would Jack be likely to find a snake in the bilge of his boat in your country? There you go. That's the strangest viewer question yet.
Or anywhere. Any country that has...
Yeah. What countries, from our viewers, would Jack be likely to have to watch out for a snake in the bilge?
I didn't see any snakes when I went to Australia.
Did you not?
Sure, because didn't we see some?
Yeah, at the zoo.
Yeah.
We saw some snake patterns on the beach.
Yes.
God, this is flipping hard work.
And we saw some lizards in Bali running up the walls.
Yeah.
And a huntsman crawled over my hand. That scared me.
I'm sure.
The crab crawled over your foot.
Yes, a crab crawled over my foot in the sea, and I have never moved so quick in my life.
The thing that makes me move fastest in the sea isn't crabs or sharks, it's toilet paper. When you see a bit of bog roll floating past, you get out pretty quickly.
Have you got it?
I've taken out 3. I've got 2 more to do.
Hang on a minute. What did you say?
I've taken out 3. I've got 2 more to do.
Good job.
Because I'm taking out the ones here and ones on top.
Okay, well, steering update. The steering pedestal is all disassembled. The gearbox at the bottom that obviously converts the rotation. Sorry, here's Melissa. All right. The gearbox at the bottom was all full of old grease and sand, but it's reasonably free, but it won't come apart. And the spline drive at the top here is seized onto the main downshaft, so we can't get that apart. Try as I may, we've tried everything that I know how, but that's the beauty of a steel boat. What I can do now is just cut round it and weld a new piece of steel. We're going to be putting a new floor in the cockpit anyway, so rather than trash this, and it may end up being trash anyway, as I said before, but rather than cut through this and cut through the shaft and, you know, destroy it, I'm just going to cut a piece out of the floor of the boat, take the whole steering system out, take it home, put it back together, because it's dead easy to weld a small little patch into that into the cockpit floor, much easier than repairing a damaged steering system. So that's what I'm doing now. Right. That was hard work. Yet again, we're finishing in the dark, having achieved kind of what we set out to achieve.
And a hole in the boat.
But the steering system is out and there's a big hole. And trust me, I would not have cut a hole in the floor of the boat unless I felt it was absolutely necessary. The big advantage is it means we can flip in it. Is that 4 mil?
Yeah.
It looks like it might even be 5. That is some thick steel. And it was a swine to get out, but it means I can take this home, I can strip it down properly in the workshop, and get it all back together.
Decide whether we need a new one or not.
Yeah, decide whether we need a new one or not, or whether we're just going to ditch it and go for tiller steering, because that's another option. We could just ditch it and have a tiller.
We could do. I'd rather not.
I'd rather not. I'd rather have a wheel. But yeah, all in all, a successful mission. But the lazarettes are empty. That side I've stripped absolutely everything on the starboard side, all the wires, all the pipes, all the old gas pipe, all the old the pipes for the air dispatcher, the pipes for the bilge pump. This side I haven't yet stripped the wiring. As you can see, that's the exhaust, and there's some old wiring going to stuff that was on the arch, so I've got to do that. And the steel in the floor of the boat is really, really nice.
Yeah, apart from the places that it's not.
Yeah, there's a few little areas where it's gone really bad, but the majority of it, 99% of it, is in really good condition. So obviously we're going to be putting a new floor in here anyway, so I'm not too worried about cutting a hole in it. What a weird sight that is. A cockpit with no wheel. I've dumped a little plank of wood over the top of the hole that I've cut so that nobody puts their foot down it by mistake. Got that piece of wood back over the gas locker. What was the gas locker is going to be chopped out. And as I say, the plan is to change the arrangement of the back seats the aft seats completely, opening up the deck space, making it a nicer place to stand at the helm. Get rid of that silly chair that was in the middle, yeah, so a lot of fabricating to do at the back here. Lots and lots and lots of fabricating. So I'm not actually that worried about rusty metal, because a lot of it's going to get chopped out and changed anyway. Just before we go, we thought we'd just do an update of the board. We haven't done that for a little while. So let's have a look at the things that we have done and the things that we haven't done. Right, we'll start over here with urgent preventative. Empty the bilge. Done. Take it off. That's this one here.
Okay. Empty the bilge.
Done. You can take the little piece of tape off.
Okay.
Clean the bilge. Done.
Clean the bilge, have we?
More or less.
Okay. So basically.
It's not ready to paint, but it's more or less done.
Okay.
Good. To do, keep the boat dry. That's get the tarpaulin over it. Yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Keep the boat dry. That's now got a tarpaulin over it. Done.
Okay.
Yeah, and keep the water on the outside. Done.
Well, yes, basically.
Now this one, treat rust spots. We'll leave that because we've done some, but we haven't done everything. Okay. Boat moved.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah, go for it.
From the outside
Yeah.
was like the lazarettes and stuff like that, so that's got to stay up there.
Oh right, keep the water on the outside back then, please,
Where
Jack.
is it?
Denied.
So that's, yeah, because the lazarettes are really rotten. Right, mast down, not done. Cover with tar, done.
Yeah. Wait, I thought we'd already done that one.
Yeah. Well, we've got, yeah, we've written the same thing in different ways a number of times, which makes us feel better. Right, to do metalwork, bowsprit. Grind back to bare metal to assess to repair or replace. We didn't actually need to grind it back, but we've assessed it and it's going to need to be replaced. Pull that one off.
Okie dokie. It's a bit hard to pull it off with the tape.
Board the windows up.
No.
Move that one up then. Move that one up. So we've not done that, but we don't actually need to because we're probably just going to take them out and replace them.
Denied.
Foredeck. Remove the windlass, replace the main plate, remove the push pit, the pulpit that should be, for straightening. Done.
Yeah, we have. I forgot.
Right, let's look over this side.
Electric.
Comfort wise, we're not interested. Disassemble the steering system. That's what we did today. Done.
This one.
No, top one. Some Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Service the steering system. Move that one up because now it's been disassembled, we can service it. I think it's going to be all repairable. Remove the rudder. No, not done that.
I'm just going to put that.
The rudder moves really nicely. It's moved the keel now. So we haven't done any keel work yet. Engine work we haven't done yet. That's for when Chris gets here. Sails. The sails are all now at Performance Sails in Evesham in the care of Robbo. And he says they're all in excellent condition. They need the sacrificial strips replacing, but the sails themselves are in absolutely perfect condition. Two or three of them look like they've never been used, never been out of the bags. They've not even had any UV. To do electrics, not done any of that. So good. So that's it, guys. We're done for today. We're calling it a day there. Can Melissa be seen in shot? Can you be seen in shot? Say bye-bye to everybody.
Bye. Ooh.
Bye everyone. What?
So about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, we've
9.
done loads. It doesn't seem like a lot to us, but I'm sure to you guys maybe it does. I don't know. Or maybe it doesn't. But yeah, onwards and upwards, and every step is a step in the right direction. Today was a hard day. Getting that steering system off was really hard work.
We were on the brink of tears at points today.
Yeah, it was hard work. It was hard work. But that's what it's all about. And I now know how that steering system works in an intimate way, which is not a bad thing.
Soon.
Yeah, and I'll know more soon once I've had it rebuilt it. Thanks very much for watching, guys.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, please don't forget to click the thumbs up button. And if you want to make sure you don't miss any more episodes, click the subscribe button and the notification bell. We'd like to thank all of our patrons and our friends and supporters